Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session on supercharging your content workflows with DAM. I'm Carly Hill. I'm the Director of Growth Marketing at Media Valley, and I am also the host of today's amazing customer panel. Just a bit of housekeeping to start us off. We are recording today's session, so if there's something you missed, something you want to refer back to, or if you want to share the video with someone else on your team, expect that in your inbox sometime tomorrow. All right, so to kick us off, let's start off with some introductions. We have some really great DAM super users today on the call across a wide variety of industries. So first, we have Sherry Davidson, the Manager of Communications, Advertising, and Marketing at the City of Kawartha Lakes. We also have Darren McDaniel, the Regional Marketing Manager at Highgate Hotels Hawaii. And last but not least, we have Courtney Woods, the Digital Asset Manager at The Chosen. Thank you so much for all of you for taking the time today to really talk through how you use Media Valet and share your insights as power users. So without further ado, let's jump into some questions. All right, to start us off, let's just set the stage for each of you. Sherry, let's start with you. Can you let us know a little bit about City of Kawartha Lakes? What kind of caused you to look into a dam, and what was important to you when you were looking into a dam?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Great to be here. Kawartha Lakes is about 90 minutes east of Toronto, and we're a really quickly growing municipality. We're made up of a mix of year-round residents, but we also have a high number of seasonal residents because we have over 250 rivers and lakes. And so we have a beautiful four-season playground around us. And we're known for that, but we're also really well known for our Kawartha Dairy ice cream, which goes really nicely with cottage season. So I'm the manager of communications, advertising, and marketing. And that means we have a single tier municipality. So we're providing all services to residents. We don't have a regional layer. So we have about 1,300 staff and a variety of communications needs. And that's what really led us to seek a dam so that we could better meet our video and photo needs all across the city.
Perfect. And when you think back to when you first kind of started your dam project, what was really that main goal that you were trying to achieve with your dam?
Our main goal, Carly, was get all of those photo and video assets consolidated into one central and easy to share location that was secure. We wanted to say goodbye to third-party file sharing services, of which we had several, emails with attachments flying back and forth, and really streamline that whole process was the main driver. And since then, we've accomplished that and a whole lot more, which I'm sure we'll get into later.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And Darren, how about you with Highgate Hotels? What really kicked off that dam project and what was important during your search?
It was brought up by an associate that had some experience with Media Valley before, I think from years past, and we were encumbered by the good old Dropbox application that everybody knows. But the efficiencies of being able to add to that application and more importantly distribute from there just wasn't there. So the biggest draw to us for Media Valley was definitely in the efficiencies that we found in both the distribution of the material, obviously, and getting it out. There's so many different methods that you can use within Media Valley that are so effective for doing that. And that also allows us to scale so much faster, also with the addition of content. In the hospitality industry, we really want to connect with our guest experience. So we're able to leverage Media Valet as almost a collector for really driving in digital assets, obviously images, rich media, things like that. But we're really able to leverage that asset, not just to grow our digital asset library, which has grown extensively, but be able to distribute it significantly faster and more efficiently too. So it's definitely been an elevated experience for us. So we're excited about it.
Amazing. So happy to hear. And can you share what your end vision is for your dam?
The biggest end vision that we're still working on towards is, those portals. We'll get into that, I'm sure, but it's really just the ability to present our digital assets in a very branded, professional looking environment. And again, give our partners that ability to access assets readily. So they're not relying on us. I know that Sherry mentioned emails going back and forth. Now you set them up with a link and that's all you need to do. And those partners have exactly what they need whenever they need it. So we're already halfway to the goal. Now it's just continuing to really just improve upon it and refine it and make it more polished, which we're actively working towards with your help. So thanks.
Perfect. And we will be definitely diving into portals in a little bit. So excited to touch on those. Perfect. And then how about yourself, Courtney? What kickstarted your dam initiative and what were some of the the critical things that you were looking for?
Well, for us, we create many assets. We're the Chosen. It happens to be one of the highest crowdfunding shows in history at this point. And part of what enabled us to do that is using assets on social media platforms. And as the number of assets that we needed and created increased, we needed a place to be able to sort them, manage them, distribute them quickly and easily. So we searched for a dam, and we found the Media Valet platform met our needs, and that we could scale as we grow and continue to expand.
Perfect. And then what would you say your end goal or vision is for your dam?
Our end goal is to have a dam platform and processing system that enables our users to easily find independently any assets that they need, and to continue to be able to distribute our assets quickly to our partners and distributors and each other.
Perfect. All right. And I know each of you are using your dam in different ways to really enable your assets to get in front of the right people and really distribute it to the right areas. I know each of you have kind of briefly mentioned it, but I'd love to really highlight and walk through the different ways that each of you are using your dam today. So Darren, maybe you could start us off.
Yeah. So in our hospitality industry, the biggest thing is we operate with a bunch of different properties. I actually represent Highgate Hotels Hawaii in a thing. So yes, I am out in Hawaii right now, beautiful place, but we have a really growing presence. We've taken on almost about 5-6 new resorts even in the last year. So it's been amazing. You can imagine these new resorts, new images, new assets. We've got to be able to collect everything and get it out there. So we've been able to basically segment our assets by property. We've been able to allocate them accordingly as they come in, and then share them with key stakeholders as we get those assets in really efficiently. So, for instance, like we've mentioned, the ability to use portals, sending those out to our branded partners and our travel partners that just need to be able to download those assets and get use of them. We've been able to use users and user groups to add our collective third-party groups, like our digital designers and people that we work with intimately that need just readily access to everything. We can set them up with users groups so they can go into different categories and really search more thoroughly. And then, of course, collectively, internally and externally, we use those light boxes, which has just been amazing for projects and collaborations, so that we can say, okay, these are the images we want to use on this specific piece or this specific project or campaign we have going on. So it really helps us to just categorize and speak efficiently to our needs.
Perfect. And I know that you are working with some influencers. Can you share a little bit about how the dam helps facilitate content from that group of people?
Sure. So I think we'd mentioned that before in our previous conference. It was kind of neat. We just basically got a little creative with Media Valet, but we just basically created a users group called photographers and influencers. And what it allows us to do is we invite those influencers to basically be able to upload assets directly into the Media Valet vault. So we're no longer, again, spending the time to go over and get different links from 20 different applications and downloading them and uploading. They can actually upload them, get them into the system, mark us for approvals. And it just allows us to be so much more, again, as I mentioned, growing the database. That's one of our largest things. It allows us to get those assets in there really quickly. We can screen through them and reject the ones that we aren't so happy with, make sure that only the quality imagery and content is going out.
Perfect. Yeah, I can imagine it helps speed along that process a fair bit.
Quite a bit.
Perfect. All right, Courtney, I'm going to tag you in. I know you have some similarities in the sense that you're working with a ton of photos, some videos, some GIFs. Plus, I know that you're doing something really interesting with using the dam to manage the cast asset approval process, I'll call it. Can you walk us through that process and then share a little bit of the other ways that you're using your dam today?
Yes, so our strike process for our cast, one of the things that we love doing at The Chosen is being disruptive. And so one of the ways I do that is by trying to think of different ways that we can actually use the system for that. And when I thought about light boxes and the fact that we can reject and approve and the different things that the Media Valet platform enables us to do, I realized we can create a workflow that can help us with the strike rights process. So basically, what we did was we created an attribute that's specific for the cast members who have that strike right in their contracts, and set them up in Media Valet as their own user group. And then using the Lightbox function, each cast member that has strike rights has their own Lightbox, and we add photos that need their approval. So they'll go through, they'll be able to mark using an attribute whether they reject it or they want to reject it with updates, or accept it with updates rather. And then I'm notified, and then I'm able to sort them, reject them, and hide them, to archive them, and then let our team know, okay, these photos are okay and approved to use. And I hide the photos that aren't approved. And it was just really fun and really neat that we could do that using Media Valet in that way. So.
Amazing. And can you share a little bit about how you're taking advantage of portals or some of the other features that you use in the DAM?
Yes, we use portals a lot, and we use the syncing with categories and portals. We do syncing a lot with our Lightbox for portals. So one of our goals is we transferred from a Google Drive system. So we're used to folders. And one of the things that we are working together on is decreasing our reliance on a folder, or thus category structure, and more of a search function. So one of the ways we do that is by, one, appropriately tagging our assets, but also using light boxes whenever possible. So one of the things that we done is there's a portal that we created, and there are assets that we have TV spots that are different lengths, 15, 30, and 60 seconds, but it didn't make sense to have a subcategory for each of those spots. So we put them all in one subcategory, TV spots, and then we created a light box representing each of those different time frames, and then sync the light box to the portal so that they're separate in the portal, although they're not separate in the category. And so we use our portals for that, and that's actually for an internal use, so that we can keep track of the assets that we're making and designing and distributing. And then we also use them a lot with our partners and our distributors. And it's been a godsend using them in that way. And it's relatively easy to make a portal, and it looks professional, it looks nice, it looks finished, and we send it to our distributors, and it's been really a wonderful tool.
Amazing. Yeah, sounds like between you and Darren, we have some, we call it portal power users on the call. And I know for a fact, Sherry, that you are no exception either. So I'd love to have you share a little bit about how you're using the DAM and some of the use cases that you have for portals as well.
Sure, Courtney, I love it. You're giving me good ideas just listening to how you're using your light boxes. So thank you. It's great how we all come from different industries and we're using the same tool in wildly different ways. So we've been using portals. I can give you 3 quick examples across the city. So the first is we rebranded a couple of years ago. And so wanting to make sure that all of our partners and community members and anyone who needed to get their hands on our current logos, brand standards, etc., could in an easy way. So we have a brand portal that is wide open, not password protected. We have something more exclusive for certain members of our staff. So in our Parks and Recreation division, they work with a lot of part-time or seasonal staff in aquatics, in camps, and they need access to certain files, whether they be brochures, report cards, or confidential information for campers. Those are all set up on portals with the correct passwords and security and download options. So the portals really give you all that you need to meet a wide variety. The third is, again, on a more open and promotional basis, our economic development group wanted real estate agents and other local businesses to have access to certain marketing materials to promote Kawartha Lakes as a destination to move your business or to move your family. And so our Welcome Home portal has been working well. And it's really nice to have the metrics on the back end to know how many downloads you're getting, how many views, etc., to really tie it back to the initial goals of the campaign. So there's 3 quick examples of how we're using it in Kawartha Lakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you're taking advantage of the reporting elements as well to, measure the success of how your branded portals are doing. I think that's something that a lot of our customers and other people aren't necessarily using. So thank you for highlighting that as well. All right, and I'm actually going to take you right back in, Sherry, and just take a step back for a second. And can you share, why this instant access to assets is so critical for your business, and what does it really enable you to do?
So I think for us, our initial goal was consolidation, streamlining, time efficiency, just by having one system and everybody on one system. And we've gone beyond that. We did quite quickly go beyond that, and it's become a way of working for our core user departments. So it's really become a way that we can start, continue, and finish a project with third-party vendors. Darren, you mentioned earlier, working with photographers and or influencers is really easy with the DAM because it's such a user-friendly platform. So we've set up several suppliers to upload their assets directly, and just the way the metadata is set up and the uploading process and approvals, it's super easy. So we get instant buy-in. In fact, it's helpful on their end because instead of trying to figure out how to deliver files to us, it's a one-step process. So there's definitely efficiencies there. We're looking at how we can integrate the DAM more closely with our website and other digital assets so that we're not uploading, downloading, but we're sharing with direct links and making the process as smooth as possible. So yeah, it's an onion. I keep saying our DAM is an onion, and we keep peeling layers of ways that we can use it. And yeah, conversations like this are really helpful to hear how other industries are using the DAM and get some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like it helps you in a lot of different areas, but mostly a lot of it is, those time savings, the efficiency savings. Perfect. And Courtney, how about yourself? Really, why is this instant access to assets so critical for the Chosen?
Well, one of the unstated goals, maybe it's more of a desire that we have at the Chosen, is to have the show watched by 1 billion people worldwide. And a major part of that is distribution. And distribution requires digital assets, whether it's video or designed images or photos. So quick access to fully approved, fully curated, relevant assets is essential for our business. So our DAM platform has enabled us to do that exponentially. We get requests from our major distributors, and we're able to fulfill them by creating a portal, or even sometimes galleries, depending upon what the needs are, and get that to them, usually within in less than 24 hours, usually same day sometimes. So that's been highly beneficial.
And how about yourself, Darren? How about from Highgate Hotel's perspective?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, no worries. So just around, why instant access to your assets is so critical for your business.
It's funny, and I apologize. I noticed Craig had a comment from one of the people that were on the chat, and so I was kind of looking at some data in our Media Valet. So speaking of immediate access, this might even answer Craig's question at the same time. We've got over 122 users in our DAM currently. 28 of those are actually, 122 users, 28 external groups, and 11 internal groups, if that kind of helps you. When you talk about instant access, so When you look at our groups from a Highgate perspective, hotels, we've got an administrative internal group, design and construction, food and beverage, front desk, general managers, HR, marketing, purchasing, revenue, sales, weddings. And so you can see once these assets are set up and the user groups are set up correctly, the efficiency in terms of accessing assets becomes intuitively not obvious, but also easy, I guess. They can go in there and we give them access to exactly what they need and, of course, what they don't need. So it gives them exactly what they can pull out, download, put into their collateral if they need to. And it just helps, kind of like a self-serving station anyway. So it works really well. So hopefully that might help to answer some of Craig's questions as well, too. Also on that note, our marketing team does the heavy administration for that. We're the ones that upload the images. We set the users groups, the categories, and everything like that. And then our goal is to really be the facilitators for all these other groups. If they have questions, they come to us. We'll lead them down the path to help them set up light boxes, portals, use the portals and everything, and maximize their use of the asset.
Amazing. And I'm just going to read out Craig's question just so everyone on the call has context into it. So he was just asking, what do your internal teams look like that enable you to manage Media Valet system successfully? Kind of like, what are the roles? How many people are there? Sherry, I know you had kind of mentioned in our side chat that you'd be open to answering that question as well. So is there anything you want to add just to jump in there about kind of your user groups, how things are set up there?
Sure. Yeah, Craig, I would say number one, the user groups are flexible and easy to use and set up. We've made some changes along the way. We use it mainly, we've got three main admin groups, so three departments within the city: communications, parks and rec, and economic development. And the three of us are all admins. We've then opened it up to staff across the city, suppliers, and partners. Those all add up to, I think we're somewhere in around 68 total users. And so it's a really flexible system that allows you to give the right permissions to the right people. I hope that helps.
I'm sure it does. Courtney, anything you want to add there? Any insights from kind of how you have your users set up?
Yeah, so we have our users set up. We have two administrators, and then we currently have just over 170 users. However, that's because we have a lot of international team users who do a lot of international distribution and marketing. So a lot of that number is them. And the way we set up our user groups are based upon teams. So we have an international team user group. We have a marketing strategy user group. We have a merchandising user group, etc. And their access and their permissions are based upon what their needs are. And then each user group has their own parent category, and their parent categories are generally set up administratively in a way that makes sense for them. So that's a little bit of how we administer our DAM.
Well, thank you to all three of you for jumping in, and thank you, Craig, for that question. All right, perfect. We are going to take a moment now and just talk about AI in DAM. As we know, AI in marketing, AI just in general right now is a huge topic, I'd say, in 2023 and also 2024. Especially when it comes to driving efficiencies, driving workflows. Courtney, I know that you are taking advantage of a ton of different features in the DAM. Can you share about how you're using AI to further drive those efficiencies?
Yes, definitely. I love AI, and I'm really excited about it. I get geeky about it. And one of the reasons why is with the facial recognition that was just released, it was a godsend. We have over 150,000 assets. And in doing adding metadata and tagging, one of the things we wanted to do is to make sure that we had the appropriate actor name and their corresponding characters. So we were adding attributes, and that it's quick, but it does take a little bit of time. With the facial recognition AI, it's been an absolute delight. I was able to tag over 100 people in less than 30 minutes. And to see, I put the actor's name, comma, and their character, and then see that is tagged on all 20,000 of their images just is exciting. And then to go back and just make sure as new images are added that it's there and we don't need to do anything afterwards. That's absolutely delightful. So the facial recognition has been a wonderful addition and is a wonderful tool. It saves a lot of time, very efficient and very beneficial, and really helps with the user experience and finding and distributing our assets. In addition to facial recognition, we do also use video AI, and we use that primarily because one, we also want to tag our actors in the videos, but also it provides sample thumbnails if we want to use them. We're able to translate it, translate the script in multiple languages, and our international team can use those as a place to start with the translations and edit and update accordingly. We're able to identify captions. It's just been a wonderful tool, and we're beginning to use it more and more. So AI has been very beneficial, and it's a wonderful part of this platform.
Absolutely. I love to hear all the different ways that you're making use of it, especially for your video content, because I know that can be, a tougher asset type to manage sometimes. Right. And then Darren, I know that you're using image AI to kind of help with a little bit of time savings. Can you share a little bit about that?
Ken, I'm really fascinated by Courtney. That's amazing, the video technology. I think that's just amazing. On our end, it's more of our marketing campaigns. Of course, we're constantly running marketing campaigns. And when you look at the amount of resorts in the region and they multiply that times the amount of campaigns that we have, it's daunting how many we have. So we're constantly looking for media, obviously, that matches the campaign, whether it's surfing or a Mai Tai cocktail or a drink or something to that effect. So when you're able to go into an asset management system and literally just start throwing keywords and have assets start appearing, it has just made it tremendously more efficient for us to kind of dig in and find those. And I do find it remarkable upon upload sometimes when you go into these images and you see something that looks pretty generic, and then also you see on the back end that media valets come behind and tagged so much onto that image. It is pretty impressive how far it goes. I always let people know, yeah, we're in Hawaii, it's unique. You may not spot a hula dancer, but the ability to spot drink, cocktail, napkin, fork, it gets pretty nitty gritty down to it. Even coconut, it'll spot a coconut in the picture, which is pretty cool. So it really is amazing. And for those campaigns, certainly has helped everybody to narrow things down and find assets.
Absolutely. I think that's something that, especially if there's a lot of kind of dam managers on the call, that's something they'll really resonate with, where, you don't necessarily want to be adding the fork, napkin, coconut. You do want to be adding the contextual ones like hula dancer, like Mai Tai, those types of things.
It is amazing how many things it does identify, though. I'm just blown away constantly when you go into the back end. You might think of something, you go back in the back end, it's already there. So that's what I'm really impressed by. It's amazing. It's a great tool.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. And then Sherry, I know that you aren't really taking advantage of AI today, but I also know that you've recently started using mobile uploads. So can you share a little bit about how you're using that today?
Sure. First, I want to say, Darren, I'm very envious of your AI metadata, because I don't think that Mai Tai is ever going to come up in Kawartha Lakes. We do have some really fun dockside, cottage swimming AI, and we do use that. It's helpful for searching for sure. So yeah, it was really exciting when Media Valet released the mobile upload feature. I know it was one of the features we had noted would be a nice to have, a great to have when we first started with uploading. And then before we knew it, it was here. So it's pretty nice when a vendor follows through with that roadmap in a really reasonable time frame. So that was impressive. We are out and about shooting on our iPhones most of the time, and so to come back and connect to a PC and get that file sharing happening can be painful. It's quick and easy with mobile upload, and that's just a really nice feature to have. So thank you guys for executing on that one.
Thank you. I appreciate that you took a new feature and you dove right in. So thank you for leveraging that. I did see that we had a question about AI come through, so I'm just going to see if we can take a moment to answer that before moving on to the next topic. Megan just came through with a question just about if Courtney or Darren, saw McDaniel and my brain automatically jumped to Daniel.
Always.
If either of you have had any challenges with inaccurate AI tagging, and if so, maybe how you manage that.
I would probably defer to Courtney on that. From us, not so much. It's more of it for error on us would be if it tagged too much, but we'd screen that out kind of in the search process. And then, of course, the nice part about Media Valet is if you see something that's errantly tagged, you can just go into the back end and kind of remove that tag from it, which is great too. So that's, with an error, but nothing that we see in terms of mostly images and small, rich media content, GIFs, just smaller media applications that we use. We just don't see the errors. What we do see is sometimes, yes, an abundance of keywords, and perhaps there's something that isn't so relevant to the picture, but ultimately in terms of the search flow, that doesn't slow anything down. It might come up in a search where we don't need it to be. We can remove it, but we rarely come across that error.
Anything from your side, Courtney?
So I would say I have had one or two, but they have been what I would consider insignificant and very infrequent. So on one occasion, with a facial recognition, it was a different actor. However, the actor that was identified had a mustache and a beard and a dark hair, just like the other person. So that makes sense. And then another instance is when I missed it. It was appropriately identified, but the actor was behind the other actor. So it's very sensitive, the facial recognition, in that if there are 3 or 4 people in an asset, it will identify all of those, even those that you don't always realize it is able to decipher. And then sometimes with the video, I noticed that sometimes they will have just the first name instead of the first and second name. So I just need to add the second name. But other than that, it's been 99% of the time, it's been really accurate. So
Gotta say, I love to hear that one of your challenges is almost that it works too well, where it's picking up people in the background. Perfect. And Darren, I have to say, I love when people speak to our own features. I was ready to jump in saying, if there is one that you don't want to use, you can delete it, and you beat me to it. So yeah, very happy to have you advocating for that part of our platform. So thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So it's time to get into a burning question that I think is likely on everyone's mind. And that's, really, how has Media Valley changed your business? What are those results that you're seeing? And, is it helping you meet your goals? So Darren, why don't you jump in here?
Is it meeting our goals? I think it's been pretty clear, but yeah, it's definitely meeting our goals. It's exceeded our expectations in a lot of aspects. We weren't really anticipating the AI component of it. That was just honestly just an added feature that we said, wow, this is great. So our goals as far as disseminating information, we are there and achieving them, and we're continuing to almost set that bar higher. One is that we mentioned those portals quite a bit. I don't know if we've really even gotten into those, but those are really a branded example that we can really send out to our partners. So there is some refinement that we can do within those. We're continuing to do that. That's really our goal right now that we're continuing to improve upon. But it's nice to see that we've already established our goal of getting all of the assets in there. And mind you, for the audience, we're on our first year with you, Carly. Julie, the team has been amazing at setup. So in some of those numbers that I gave you, we're just starting growing. So and we're already pretty big as it is already as we continue to evolve. So as far as goals go, we've accomplished our primary goals of creating an efficient system that we can use to distribute assets. And now we kind of just keep setting those goals higher. Now we really want to be able to make sure that those portals are working great and that kind of stuff. So it's working. It's been great.
Amazing. So happy to hear. And Sherry, I know that, that distribution, the access is something that was really important to you as well. So have you experienced similar to Darren, or are there any other ways that Media Valley has changed your business?
I would echo Darren exactly. We're a little bit further along in our use of Media Valet, and each year we're finding more and more users. So different departments are coming to us and saying, would it make sense to have these assets here so we can share in this way? And we're saying, yes, and then they jump on board. So it will expand. So anyone listening that's considering implementing a DAM, know that your initial needs will be met, and then it will grow and expand, probably even ways beyond what you can imagine. I know ours has and continues to. So yeah, check it out. It's been really great for us.
Amazing. All right. And then how about yourself, Courtney? Any results that you've seen? How has it really helped your business?
I would have to piggyback upon both Darren and Sherry. It's been phenomenal. Um, it's helped our business exponentially. There's so many, we are where we are today because the dam has enabled us to disseminate information and our assets and share and it's relatively easy for our users. One of the things I'd also like to add though is the whole process of the whole implementation process. We transferred quite a few assets from Google Drive into Media Valet, and that was a huge endeavor. And our implementation manager from Media Valet was above superb. I mean, she was amazing, and to say that because of her, we've been successful. That implementation is a key reason why we have been successful and we continue to grow. In addition, I would like to just mention that as we are in the process of formalizing our governance and metadata policies, and the resources that have been provided to us from Media Valet has been beyond measure. It's just been very helpful with us. So combined those support aspects with the system itself, it's been very beneficial for our business. So.
Absolutely. I'm just so thrilled to hear, you mentioned how amazing the support has been, and Darren called out his rep by name. Like, that's the type of stuff that we love to hear. We really do pride ourselves on providing that amazing support. So hearing it and hearing the impact that it's had on everyone is it's really really heartwarming. So thank you so much for sharing that part of it, because it is something that I think some people don't think about, but it does have a huge impact on the potential success of your dam. So,
and Carly, make it clear, we're not getting paid for any of this. We're actually speaking from up about that. So for the audience to reiterate that, yeah, it's been a really positive experience. I can say that too. So thank you.
And I can drop Sarah and Nathan and
we're Julia,
let me do some name dropping. Perfect. I'm sure all three of them will be thrilled to hear that they were mentioned on today's call. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Don't forget Dave.
And Dave. I know. I was like, I know Sherry works with Dave, but I'll let her call him out if she wants to.
I do. He's
Carly,
awesome.
I think it's worth mentioning that that's a really important component, truly, genuinely and sincerely. I don't know from the other partners in this conversation, but I work with so many applications, and boy, having that one-on-one support that you can get. And the thing that I'm really amenable to or really appreciate more than anything is just the fact that I sometimes send off dev requests and things like that. And it's like, yeah, let me put that on a list. We'll at least look at it. And so it's a very opening, and I understand things can't change overnight, but it's a very open a platform where it's very welcoming with feedback and very responsive to requests and things like that. And I think that's worth noting, just because that was certainly a huge, a big benefit or a big addition when we brought on the product as well, and something that we're looking forward to as we grow as well. That support is always there. It's not like, hey, we got you set up and now we're occasionally around. You guys have been there intimately with us through the whole journey, checking in and making sure it's working successful. So that's huge. I give you guys huge props for that. And again, I'm not getting paid.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll make sure I'll say pass this off to the team. Everyone's going to watch the recording anyways, but I'll definitely highlight this as a key moment. All right. I know we have just one more question after this, but we did have another question come through the chat. So Sharon was wondering, just how long did it take each of you and your team to just be fully accustomed to the dam and fully kind of realize that dam value? I know it can be a bit of a hard one to answer.
I could take a shot at that as well. It was, again, the support was amazing. And that's what made that process so easy. It wasn't, here's your application, figure it out. It was, here's your application, let's get you set up. I think in the pre-conversation we had, we talked about steps you would take to a successful foundation of that. And so my advice, of course, on that note was to really spend time with your team. I've always been a fan of doing the planning and spending more time in the planning phase than rushing to implementation. The more time you can to really kind of think through your categories, your setup, your teams, your users, and really figure that out. I think that that's been really successful. I know working with Julie, you know, that was one thing that we both worked on really well. I think she mentioned she was impressed by our setup. We really thought it through, and through that to me really helped us to get to an execution level. Specifically, within a couple of months, we had, you know, added within a month we had the marketing team. Within days we had the marketing team on. Within about a month we had all of our external teams, our important revenue teams and sales teams on. And then within the following month, we pretty much had all of our external teams up, and we've been pretty much refining from there. So it was a pretty quick process for the transition. And with the help of you guys helping us transition from Dropbox, I know Courtney mentioned Google Drive, that was tremendous as well too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good kind of lead in to the last question of the day. And that is just on, you know, if everyone has that top piece of advice that you'd share for someone that is either going through an implementation or thinking about purchasing a DAM. So Darren, I know you kind of already spoke to what I know is your answer there. Is there anything more that you want to add to it? Or pretty done and dusted?
I think that's a lot of it right there. I think the audience has heard from me enough. It's that's it. It's you're going to have support. You're going to have a great application. You're going to be able to be significantly more efficient in what you do.
Right, perfect. All right, and Sherry, what about yourself? Any final tip, trick, advice?
Yeah, I'll just go back to my last comment in that it'll meet your needs and then it'll grow. So just be ready that there's step one is all good. Step two is even better. So.
Absolutely. All right. And Courtney, you're the final speaker of the day. What is your final tip, advice that you can give on anyone kind of looking into a DAM?
I would just encourage people to remember some of the steps, many of the steps that Darren and Sherry shared. It's really important in setting up your DAM to do the planning is really important. Talking with those teams that will be using the DAM, getting their input for taxonomy, for category structure, planning that out is essential. And you don't want to do that all in one group or one team. It really is a group effort, a multi-team effort. And also keep in mind that there are different ways that you can use your DAM. You can use it the ways you expect it to house and manage your assets, to distribute your assets, but you can also create different types of workflows. You can also set it up so that people can use it to help with their planning and their strategy over the years. So I would encourage people to keep that in mind as they're looking at DAMs and as they are thinking of how they want to use them.